Well, hi y'all are, it's your native Flor-xan, and today we're going to be getting ready for New Year's. And now I realize it's December, and we're not quite to New Year's yet, but we got to start now getting ready for it. So hang in there, and let's get into some corned beef. All right, y'all. So what I got here is a small brisket that I bought. I bought it, caught it at a decent price, or decent for these days. It was $42. It's a little over 6 pounds. It's enough brisket to make us a couple of corned beef meals. So we're going to get this out of the packaging, get it trimmed up, and then I'll show you how we do our brine. Alright, so I got our brisket here, and as I mentioned, I just thawed it out. It's still a little icy, which is the way I like it, because I want to cut this fat off and leave just a little bit. And I find the colder the meat is, the easier it is to do this. But we're just going to get this trimmed up. We're going to leave some of this fat, but in my corned beef, I don't like it real heavy in fat, so we're going to trim quite a bit of this off of here. Okay, so we got our brisket trimmed up. I try to trim a lot of the fat and the silver skin off of it just so the brine can penetrate well. I also did a little trimming on this side, but I leave some of it in there. Reason being, you know, corned beef is boiled, and I'm just not much on boiled fat. Now, if you enjoy it, you certainly can take it out of the package, leave it as is, and brine it as is. I would recommend that you brine it longer. We're going to do probably a 7-day brine on this. If you're going to leave all that fat and such, you may want to do a 10-day or maybe a little bit longer, just to make sure that your brine penetrates all the way through the meat. So let me get this stuff cleared out. Let's get to making our brine. Alright, so getting started, I got 6 cups of hot water in my bowl. I'm going to go in with a 1/2 cup of kosher salt and a 1/2 cup of some light brown sugar. And we're just going to mix this around until we get it all dissolved. Alright, next we're going to add about a tablespoon of some whole clove, a tablespoon of whole black peppercorn, next a teaspoon of mustard seed, about 30 juniper berries, and about 30 allspice berries. Now, we've talked in the past about curing salt. We have roughly 6 pounds of meat. Recommended 1/2 tablespoon per 5 pounds, so I'm just going to add a 1/2 tablespoon to this. If we're a little under, I'd rather be a little under than be over and get somebody sick. Then I'm going to add probably equivalent of 3 bay leaves. Alright folks, we're just going to whisk this up real good. Wake all them spices up. Dissolve that curing salt, and we'll cool it down and get our meat into it. I put about a pound of ice in there just to make sure it's good and cool before we put our meat in there. Alright, here we go. Get that placed in there. If your brine's not quite covering it all the way, you can add a little water to make sure you got that meat fully submerged. I'm just going to add a few cups just to make sure we're good and covered. Then I'm just going to place this bowl down in there to ensure that we keep it submerged in our brine the entire time. I would normally do this in a briner bowl, but I'm limited on fridge space at the moment. Alright folks, we got everything locked in there. Got our bowl to keep that meat submerged in our brine. This is going to go in the fridge for 7 days, and we'll see you then. Alright, finally, it's been 7 days. We got our corned beef out of the brine. Now what I've done is I've taken the meat out and rinsed it off, and then I strained all the spices out to put into the pot. And so the only other prep we got is I want to cut this in half. It'll make it easier getting into our 12-quart pot. And so essentially what I'm going to do, we kind of got our little cap piece here and then flat, so I'm just going to kind of cut it across like this which will make it easier to put into the pot. And then plus I've already got it divided up for how we're likely going to eat it. So I typically make slices out of the flat part, and then I chunk up the other part to make our corned beef and cabbage. So here we go. I got a 12-quart pot. We're going to get them in there, chunk our spices in there, and then get it out to the burner, and I'll show you that once we get going. Alrighty, so we got the burner lit, got everything in the pot, seasoning and everything. We're going to let this run. It's probably going to take 2.5 to 3 hours, but we're looking for an internal tip of about 200 degrees to make sure it's good and tender. Even though it hits 200, when we probe it, if it doesn't feel real tender, we might take it up a little higher to like 210 or so. But yeah, keep an eye on this. You don't want it boiling over, because if it boils over, you're going to lose some of that spices that we put in there. But just keep a good eye on it. Nice rolling boil, and let it run. Alright folks, we're at about 1 hour and 45 minutes, and I just happened to come by and check the pot, and I noticed both sections of meat are pretty much just floating in there, which is normally a sign that they're done. The question is how done. So I'm gonna grab this thicker one here. Oh yeah, that one's at 208, that one's at 206. So we're gonna call these good. Shut our fire off, let them cool, and I'll go get these in a pan. We'll let them cool a little bit, then we'll slice into them and see what they look like. Alrighty, so our corned beef has rested for about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or so. So suspense is killing me. So on this cap portion, we normally use this for corned beef and cabbage that we do when we fry the cabbage up. And then we use the flat as slices for either like Reuben sandwiches, or if we're going to make like cabbage rolls with it. So, but when I cut this in kind of thick slices, because generally what we're going to do is cube this up to eat it how we like to eat it, but you can slice it however you want. I just like to try to cut it across the grain as best as you can. With the cap, you kind of got grain going in 2 different directions. Once this is completely cooled, I'll freeze this up. I'll leave them in the big slices, and then when I go to make our corned beef and cabbage, then I'll cut them up from there. I just want to grab a slice from the middle. You can see that cure made it all the way through the meat. It's pink all the way through. If you ever get one that's got like a gray line in the middle of it, that means you didn't let it set long enough, or maybe the piece was too thick and you should have injected your brine in there. But this one's nice and pink all the way through. That means that cure made it all the way through the meat, which is what we want to see. So now we're going to take our little Scooby snack here. Let's try this dude out. Oh man, there's nothing better than homemade corned beef. Man, that is outstanding. Nothing that's better than a fresh corn brisket that you made yourself. Yeah, you can buy them ones in the package, and I'm not saying they're bad or they're no good or whatever. They're actually a pretty good product, but when you control the amount of spices that you put in there, when you're controlling how many juniper berry you like and how many allspice berry you like, and you play around with it, once you get it to how you like it, there's nothing better. Nothing better. So I hope you get to try this out. Thanks to all you subscribers out there. I really appreciate it. Leave me a comment on what you think about this recipe. And then if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and then ring that bell. That way you'll get notifications of when I post new videos. And if you like this one, go ahead and hit that like button too while you're at it. So I appreciate all y'all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.